Actually, I'm going to pause it for a second. And we'll make a new document in InDesign. Nothing special here. We are working on 2 pages, front side or an inside and the outside of it. So we'll set that to 2. We're going to turn off facing pages. The size of it, I want it to be legal size. What size is that? It's a common US size. No? Not 11 by 17. Not 8, y'all are getting closer.
It's like a little bit bigger than lettering.
Yeah, it's 8.5 by 14. That's where the 14. 8.5 by 14. So watch, when I choose legal, there it is, 8.5, 14. We do want it to be landscape. We're not going to worry about margins, so I'll set those to 0. Remember, since we're printing all the way to the edge, we need a bleed, at least 1/8 of an inch on all sides. So now we got it set up. Look at number 2 on here. So there's 4 panels that are on there. And I want them to be a certain width inside of it. You notice the first panel is going to be the smallest one. Second one's going to be a little bit bigger, and the last 2 are going to be the biggest. So if I was to lay this out, and I'm going from left side to the right side, and I want to make guidelines so that they're all the correct size. So the first panel needs to be 3 inches wide. Where should I put my vertical guideline? Easy question. Right at 3. Exactly. Click on your ruler, drag it out. That one's going to be at 3. Now my second panel needs to be 3.5 inches wide. So where do I need to drag a guideline? 6.5. All right. Next one needs to be another 3.5. So 9.5 or 10. What is it?
10.
It's 10. It's 10. Very good. So last one should be right at 10, leaving this last one to be a full 4 inches. Okay? Yep, you had to know math today. All right, so that's the front side, though. Here's the tricky part. Remember, this is a brochure. It's going to be 2-sided. This side right here, when I fold it, is going to be the front side on this side. Okay? So when I open it up, it's on this side now. So where's the 3-inch side? It's not on the right. It's going to be on the left-hand side. Or actually, y'all's right-hand side if y'all were looking at it. Okay? So if you look at number 3, I said on the second page, set up your 3 vertical guides in the opposite order. Make sense? We're doing it on the opposite side because when you flip this around, it's going to be opposite. It's a very amateur mistake to put everything the same size on both sides of a piece of paper. So let's go to number 2. Page 2. We're going to start on the right side. Where should I put my guideline?
11.
At 11. Why 11?
It's 3 inches.
3 inches from 14. So what's next? 7.5. All right, what's next?
4.
Finally at 4. Everybody understand why we did it that way? Because you're flipping it around. What's on front needs to be opposite of what's on the back. Make sense? Okay, cool. Let's actually start laying it out. Layout's relatively simple. You can see how I've done it for this one. We're going to start off with 2 big picture boxes, and they are different sizes. That's okay. But we'll drag 1 big picture box over these 2 panels and another big picture box over these 2 panels. Make sure you go all the way out to the bleed edge, because when you print this, you're going to cut them off. Let's drop in our photographs. So in this one, I'll put this one. You will need to resize it. Remember, the fastest way is to do the little auto correction, and we're going to place this one, clicking on the little dooley in the middle, towards the top of the page. Now all I need to do is to match my box color to whatever color my picture is, and we did this when you made the calendar. So I'm going to select my box, grab your eyedropper, option click, and so I've changed the fill color of the box. Just that easy. Now you see why we added a little gradient into there. I'll do it again for this one. Drop it in, say OK, resize it, and place it towards the top. You will have to deselect it so that you can select the box itself and then use your eyedropper tool to fill in that particular color as well. If you do notice, since one of them is going to be smaller than the other one, actually I'm working on page 2. Whoops. We'll cut and paste these back up here and just resize that up. One will be smaller than the other. You can readjust these size accordingly so that it fits and they all both look relatively good too. Well, let's resize that one. Put that one up there. Get you back up there. I can make this one bigger just by clicking on it, on the picture itself, because I've got a little playroom, a little leeway off to the side. All cool? Once you got your images on here, the next thing you need to do is actually place all of the text information. In the folder you're going to download, not only do you have the pictures that you're going to edit, but I've given you the information for each of the pictures. Match up the picture name with the text information name. So I've given you the name, the starting price, the specs, the specifications, and also the information about this particular design. I'm going to leave it up to you how you want to format everything, what fonts you use, what placement it's going to be, but I do have some specific things I'm looking for. So on the very back page, you can see what I'm looking for to do it. Change up the colors, whatever you feel is best on some things. All the information should be used. So if I was to create this one, the first thing you're going to make is a text box for the name that you're going to place it into it. For this name, I'm asking things like make it in a box that's going to be 8.5 by a 1/2 inch. You're going to change the box color to match whatever the color of your picture is. You're going to, the text color can be something light. It needs to be bold. It needs to be down here at the bottom, 3/4 of an inch from the edge. Do y'all understand what I'm asking for? So look at what I'm asking and try to format your text to fit that particular area. Same thing for the rest of the stuff. You're going to make a box. The box needs to be clear. The text color should be analogous to whatever this is. What does analogous mean? Yeah, distance, next to it, not opposite, but it's next to it. So if this is blue, this is kind of a greenish type blue. Serif font, those type of things. Same way for these. The placement of it, whatever you do to one panel needs to be the same for the other panel. So notice how I've got the price right here. I've got the dimensions underneath it. I've got this over here, and they're all formatted a certain way. In this panel, same thing, same format, same placement, different color though. So I've changed up the color. If I was to move my price and I just put it underneath it right there, well, see, now these are not both the same. I want to be consistent, so I would have to also move this one over here to be in the relative same place as well. Make sense? So I want it consistent on all of the brochures, not just this one, but all of them need to be the same. The easiest thing you can do is once you get one of them done, copy it, paste it over to the other side, and then place it where it needs to be. Everyone's going to be slightly different, but you can adjust it as necessary. Play around with tracking, play around with the size of the text. No two peoples should be exactly the same for what you're creating. Last bit of advice on placing these things to pay attention to. I'll go back to normal mode. Notice that you've got a fold line going down your brochure. Make sure no important text is along that fold line. You don't want the text to be broken up by where it's going to fold. So that may be something very important. I wouldn't want to keep my price right there because it's going to go through the 9 on that one. So I would want to place it back over here. I can always change up the text if I don't like it right aligned. Looks just as good left aligned. Same way, if I do it to one, I've got to do it to all of them once they're finished this way. Also pay attention. Notice that I've got a little bit of a margin between this fold line and a little bit of margin between here. Equal distance. Same way as over here. And that one needs to be nudged over a little bit more. But just as pages have margins along their edges, you've also got margins along your fold lines. And all I'm doing is trying to be consistent between one area and the next area. Everything should fit in there relatively nicely. There's nothing that should overflow. If it does, change the size of your text. Notice how, let's see, I'll go back into preview mode. I've got a lot of leading between these two. If I change the leading, we'll put it back to automatic. Look how this changes up, first of all, my design that I'm working with. This text fills the area a lot better, whereas this one, it has an open space too there. I almost want to have something to balance it out. Additionally, when I condense text down close together, it becomes very, very dense. And so this is almost weight-wise as weighty as the price is. And remember we said we wanted to have a Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and everything else is Baby Bear? Well, if this is the same weight, then my eye is bouncing back and forth between those two. By spreading it out, I'm giving more contrasts between the weight of the text that's in there. It's a little extra thing you think about when you're a designer is how can I spread things out to make them look more or less weighty. All cool on setting up the document? If you've got one picture finished, go ahead and set up your document, get that knocked out of the way, and place the picture within there. We will work on this on Tuesday. We're also going to cover how to do the front panel, and next Thursday will be a work day to finish everything up and turn it in before spring break. All cool? All right, I'm going to turn your computer back over to you. Let y'all finish up as much as you can for today.